All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're looking at a blueprint for the hospital of the future. And this isn't just guesswork. It's based on a huge analysis of research from all over the world, showing us how tech is about to completely change hospitals, from places we go when we're sick to ecosystems that keep us healthy.
I want you to think about this for a second. What if the place you go to get better could actually see you were getting sick before you even felt a thing and could step in to help? Well, that's not science fiction. That's the core promise of what's called a smart hospital.
You see, the whole way we think about healthcare is flipping upside down. We're moving away from just reacting to sickness and instead moving towards something that's proactive, totally personalized, and way more efficient. And that's the whole vision of the intelligent and secure smart hospital, a place powered by things like AI, the Internet of Things, and super fast 5G.
So what even is a smart hospital? Well, at its heart, it's like a living digital organism. Every single device, every procedure, every interaction with a patient, it all generates data. And that data is then used to make everything better, from spotting diseases earlier to just making the hospital's day-to-day operations run smoother. Now, this isn't just a few cool ideas somebody dreamed up. The insights we're talking about come from an incredible analysis that basically created a map out of thousands of research papers. It lets us see exactly where the science is right now, and more importantly, where it's all headed. It gives us this amazing bird's-eye view of just how much momentum is building.
And this chart just says it all, doesn't it? What you're looking at is the number of scientific papers published on this topic. For years, it was just a trickle. But then, look what happens around 2018. It just explodes. That orange line is a near-perfect exponential curve. It tells you this isn't just a passing fad. It's a field of innovation that's accelerating like a rocket. The world's researchers are officially all in.
And to get the blueprint we're about to walk through, the researchers didn't just skim the surface. They systematically dove deep into 891 of the most important articles. So this isn't just a quick summary, it's a solid data-driven look at the entire field. That number right there gives some serious weight to what we're about to see.
So, after analyzing all of that research, what did they find? Well, it turns out the smart hospital is essentially being built on three big interconnected pillars. And to help us get our heads around it, the researchers use this brilliant analogy. They call it the hospital's digital nervous system.
This is such a clever way to explain it. You've got the infrastructure, which is like the skeleton holding everything up. You've got the intelligence powered by AI, which is the brain doing all the thinking and decision-making. And then you have the trust layer, which acts like the body's immune system, protecting the whole thing and making sure it's secure. Let's break each of those down.
Okay, first up, the brain of the whole operation. This is where the smart in smart hospital really happens. It's the active, thinking layer that's constantly processing information to help make better, faster clinical decisions. And the progress here is just mind-blowing. We're talking about AI models that can help doctors diagnose diseases from scans with incredible accuracy. Then you have the Internet of Things, or IoT. Think of wearables like your watch or smart sensors in a patient's room, all feeding back a constant stream of health data. But what's really key is something called explainable AI. Because look, for a doctor to trust an AI's suggestion, they have to understand why the AI made it. And of course, security is baked right into the system from the start.
And here, we can actually see that on the research map. Check out that cluster on the left, the one we're calling the AI brain. You can see how core concepts like AI, deep learning, and IoT are all tangled up together with smart healthcare. It visually shows you how all these different technologies combine to create this powerful engine of intelligence.
All right, let's move on to pillar number 2, because let's be honest, a smart hospital is completely useless if patients and doctors don't trust it. And that's where this digital immune system comes in. Its whole purpose is to protect sensitive patient data, guarantee privacy, and build absolute trust in the entire system.
So how does it do that? With some really cool tech. For instance, people are looking at blockchain to create health records that are decentralized and basically impossible to tamper with. But my favorite is a technique called federated learning. Get this, it lets AI models learn from data across multiple hospitals, but without the sensitive patient data ever leaving its home hospital. It's collaboration without compromising privacy. I mean, that's a total game changer.
And if we go back to our research map, that big green cluster on the right is our immune system. The key terms inside tell the whole story. You see blockchain, privacy preserving, and right there, federated learning. You can see how all these ideas are grouped together, forming the trust layer that protects the whole digital body.
Last but not least, none of this brain power or security works without a strong foundation to stand on. That brings us to our third pillar, the digital skeleton. This is all the physical hardware and the networks that support both the brain and the immune system.
Yeah, this is the nuts and bolts, the hardware and the data highways. It's a combination of huge, powerful cloud servers for storing massive amounts of data and what's called edge computing, which does quick processing right where it's needed, like at a patient's bedside, so there's no delay. Of course, it relies on lightning-fast 5G networks to kill any lag, which is absolutely critical for things like remote surgery. And it's all built on powerful big data platforms that can actually make sense of this constant flood of information.
One last look at our map here, and you can see that skeleton represented by that central bluish cluster. It's the glue. It connects all those foundational pieces: cloud, edge computing, 5G, and big data that provide the digital backbone for the entire smart hospital system.
Okay, so we've got the blueprint, a brain, an immune system, and a skeleton. And the technology is moving at a wild pace. But, there are still some major hurdles we have to clear to make this a reality everywhere. The research is also really good at pointing out exactly what those gaps are.
Now this diagram is super cool because it adds time into the mix. Each topic is colored based on when it was being researched, from older topics in blue to the brand new cutting-edge stuff in bright yellow. So this doesn't just show us what's being studied, it shows us what the next big things are. Those yellow spots are where all the action is happening right now, usually trying to solve the toughest problems.
And these problems are not small. Probably the biggest is interoperability. It's just getting a device from company A to talk to a system from company B. A lot of the time, they just don't speak the same language. Another gap is taking stuff that works great in a lab and making it work reliably in a chaotic, real-world hospital. Then there's governance. Who owns all this data? How do patients give consent? And maybe the biggest challenge of all is making sure the brain, the immune system, and the skeleton all work together as one, perfectly integrated unit.
But the good news is, these problems are exactly what's driving the next wave of research. Those yellowest topics on our map show the way forward. Researchers are doubling down on explainable AI to build doctor trust, they're expanding federated learning to protect patient privacy, and they're totally rethinking electronic health records to be more secure and adaptive.
And that brings us to the most important part. All of this incredible research is just code and cool ideas on paper until we can actually put it into practice. So the final piece of this puzzle is turning these insights into real, actionable steps for both hospitals and the people who make the rules. This table just lays it out so clearly. It shows that making this work is a partnership. For each of our three pillars, intelligence, trust, and infrastructure, there are jobs for both hospitals and for regulators. So for intelligence, a hospital needs to set up its own rules for using AI ethically, while the government needs to set national standards for how these things are tested. For trust, hospitals can start using new tech, but it's the regulators who need to create the new laws around data privacy. It's a shared responsibility all the way down.
Which leaves us with one last really big question. The technology for this stuff isn't some far-off dream anymore. It's here, and it's getting better every single day. So maybe our biggest challenge isn't technical at all. Maybe the biggest hurdle we have left is a human one. Can we all agree on the rules, the standards, and the ethics to build this future together in a way that's safe and fair for everyone? That's the real challenge ahead.